The storm came out of nowhere, a howling beast of wind and rain that tore at the sails of the Silver Gull. Lightning cracked the sky, and for a split second, it illuminated the face of Captain Elara Voss, her eyes wide with something that wasn't quite fear, something closer to awe. In her hand, clutched tight against the wheel, was a compass, its needle spinning wildly, glowing faintly green despite the chaos. She'd found it only hours ago, tucked in a hidden compartment of a shipwreck they'd scavenged, and now it was singing. Not a sound anyone else could hear, but a vibration in her bones, a whisper that promised secrets if she'd only follow. "Hold fast," she shouted to her crew, but her mind was already racing. Where was it leading her? And why did she feel like the storm itself was part of the answer? Elara was no stranger to the sea's mysteries. She'd spent 10 years captaining the Silver Gull, chasing rumors of lost treasures and forgotten islands across the azure expanse. Her crew, Lear, the sharp-eyed navigator, Torm, the burly engineer, and Sable, the quick-witted thief-turned-deckhand, trusted her instincts even when they led to trouble. And trouble was exactly what this compass promised. As the storm began to ease, the needle steadied, pointing not north but to a blank spot on their charts, a place Lear swore was empty ocean. "Could be a glitch," Torm muttered, wiping seawater from his beard. "Or a trap," Sable added, her fingers twitching like she was already picking a lock. But Elara felt the compass's pull, its whisper growing clearer. "Find me." Against her better judgment, she gave the order. "Set course. Let's see where this thing wants us to go." The next dawn broke clear, the sea a mirror of molten gold. The Silver Gull sailed toward the coordinates, the crew tense but curious. By midday, a shadow appeared on the horizon. Not land, but a ring of jagged rocks rising from the water, like the teeth of some ancient beast. In the center, shrouded in mist, was an island that shouldn't exist. Lear checked the charts again, shaking his head. "It's not here. It's never been here." The compass needle glowed brighter, urging them forward. Elara steered the ship through a narrow gap in the rocks, her heart pounding. The mist parted, revealing a cove where the water shimmered with an unnatural light. At its edge stood a crumbling stone arch, carved with symbols none of them could read. The compass was practically humming now, its needle pointing straight at the arch. They anchored the gull and rowed ashore, the compass guiding Elara like a lodestar. Sable scouted ahead, her footsteps silent on the mossy stones, while Torm carried a coil of rope and a wary frown. Lear kept muttering about magnetic anomalies, but even he couldn't hide his excitement. The arch loomed larger as they approached, its carvings pulsing faintly, as if alive. Elara held up the compass, and the symbols flared, revealing a hidden door in the stone. Sable's nimble fingers found the latch, and with a groan, the door swung open, revealing a tunnel that descended into darkness. The whisper in Elara's mind grew louder. Almost there. She lit a lantern and led the way, the crew close behind. The tunnel twisted downward, the air growing warmer, the walls etched with more strange symbols. At its end was a chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow, its floor dominated by a pool of liquid light. In the center, on a pedestal, rested a crystal the size of a fist, glowing with the same green as the compass. The whisper became a voice now, clear and ancient. "Take it and see." Elara reached for the crystal, but Sable grabbed her arm. "Wait, this feels too easy." Torm nodded, eyeing the pool warily. Could be a guardian, or a curse. Lear, ever the skeptic, snorted. "It's probably just a fancy rock." But Elara couldn't stop herself. The compass was burning in her hand, the voice deafening. She touched the crystal, and the world dissolved. She was no longer in the chamber. She stood on a ship, not the gull, but something older, its deck alive with sailors who didn't see her. The sky was wrong too, streaked with colors no sky should hold. The compass was still in her hand, but now it showed her something else. A map, not of places, but of times. The crystal wasn't a treasure. It was a key, a way to sail not just seas, but history itself. She saw glimpses of lost empires, sunken cities, moments that had shaped the world and vanished. But the vision came with a warning. The crystal's power was unstable. Use it too long, and it could unravel everything: time, reality, her own existence. Elara snapped back to the chamber, gasping, the crystal still in her hand. The crew stared at her, wide-eyed. "What happened?" Lear demanded. She tried to explain, but the ground shook, the pool of light churning. The voice spoke again. "Choose now. Keep the crystal." And she could chase those visions, rewrite history, become a legend. But the cost might be everything she knew. She looked at her crew, Lear's steady gaze, Torm's loyal frown, Sable's sharp grin, and made her choice. With a cry, she hurled the crystal into the pool. It shattered in a burst of light, the chamber trembling as the voice faded to silence. The compass went dark, just a piece of metal now. They fled as the tunnel began to collapse, scrambling back to the Silver Gull just as the island seemed to dissolve into the mist. The rocks were gone, the cove vanished, as if none of it had ever been. Exhausted, the crew sat on the deck, the sea calm around them. Sable broke the silence. "So, Captain, was it worth it?" Elara looked at the dead compass, then at the horizon. She'd seen wonders no one else would believe, and she'd walked away to keep her crew safe. "Yeah," she said, a small smile tugging at her lips. "But next time, we stick to gold." As the Silver Gull sailed into the sunset, Elara tucked the compass into her pocket. It didn't glow anymore, but she kept it anyway, a reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved. The sea stretched endless before them, full of new adventures, and that was enough.